At last, the Central Board of Secondary Education, CBSE, has come out with the new scheme of board examination. We have already experienced the pain and the confusion this academic session as well as the last academic session. The Central Board of Secondary Education waited for a couple of years to the pandemic to go away from the country. But anyway, the pandemic is not going to go away so soon. Last year, or to be precise, the board examinations which are to be held this March, the students kept their fingers crossed throughout the year. They prepared well and anxiously they waited for the board exams and the date sheet. But the CBSE board was helpless. It all depended upon the COVID-19. They went on postponing the examinations, and when the situation of COVID-19, the pandemic took to a bad turn, it became from bad to worse in April. The CBSE had to cancel the Class 12 board examination this year. Before that, we already know that they had to cancel Class 10 board examination. This year, the academic session started with online teaching, and there is no hope of the schools getting open, or there is no hope, there is no chance of the schools getting open and the students having physical classroom teaching. All the students somehow are struggling with online teaching, and okay, in cities the students have the facilities of internet connection, laptops, mobile phones. Think of the students in remote parts of the country. They are the worst sufferers. Keeping all this in mind, and the COVID-19 with the new variants coming, now there is a scare that COVID-19 or the Delta Plus variant is going to come back within a month or two. The schools are not going to reopen very soon. Keeping all this in mind, the Central Board of Education has taken a wise decision in the beginning of the academic session. Now I'm going to discuss today the new changes they are going to introduce this academic session with particular reference to the examination. Now this academic session and hopefully the coming sessions, the CBSE is going to conduct the board examinations for Class 10 and Class 12 students in 2 terms or 2 semesters, whatever you call it. The first semester exam, the first term exam will be held sometime in November, December. And the second term or the second semester examination sometime in March, April. Both these exams are conducted by the CBSE. The questions are set by the board, and either they are going to hold the regular examination in the school centers or some other centers, or they are going to have online examinations. Now I'll give you a brief study about how the CBSE has made the changes. Number one, the first thing is, let's talk about the first term exam, which the students are going to have sometime in November, December this year for Class 10 and Class 12 students. First point you have to remember here, this is exactly 50% of the syllabus. It becomes easier for the students to prepare for this exam. And the first term exam for Class 10 and Class 12 students will be MCQs, multiple choice questions. There are no small questions, there are no long answer questions, there are no big questions, nothing absolutely. Almost all the questions, not almost, all the questions are multiple choice MCQ questions, where the students have to just pinpoint A, B, C or D is the right answers in OMR sheets. In case the situation is good, where there is no COVID and we have relaxation, the students would be attending the school to give these exams, or they might be going to some other centers to give this exam in the school centers, where the board will evaluate the answers. The school will upload these answer sheets to the board, CBSE, and by evening the same day the results will be declared, because most of the questions are objective type questions. In case of the worst scenario, in case the pandemic prevails, in case it becomes, the situation becomes bad towards, and when we are not in a position to open the schools, then the students will be taking online exam at home. So in that scenario, the 50% marks will be reduced to maybe 30% or 20%. And now coming to the second exam. The second semester, or the final exam, or the last exam, or the second semester exam will be held in March, April next year, 2022, for class 10 and 12 students. But this exam will be different from the first term exam they had. They're getting 50% syllabus in the first term, and the second term also they have 50% syllabus. Keep in mind one thing. Don't forget, whatever the syllabus they covered in the first term exam, it's not going to be repeated in the second term exam. Maybe if they have 6, 7, 8 chapters in the first term exam, the second term exam will be from maybe the 8th chapter onwards. Maybe you have 5 chapters here and 5 chapters. So the syllabus they covered in the first term, that's not going to come in the second exam. But the second term will be slightly different from the first term exam. How is it different? Number one, in this term exam, that is the final examination, the students are supposed to write subjective. That means you have small answer questions, you have slightly bigger answer, you have long answer questions, of course you have multiple choice questions. Condition being, the situation is okay, where the students are in a position to go to the centers and give the exams. God forbid, in case the situation takes a bad turn, in case we still have corona, in case we have still COVID as we had in this April, they are not going to conduct exams. Again, MCQs, first option, which the students will be giving online test. But again here, depending upon the situation, the percentage of the marks of this test will also be lowered. It all depends upon it. If the situation prevails in a particular term exam, then that exam will carry more weightage. So in the worst of the scenarios, the third option, there is no possibility of conducting the first term and the second term, again back to square. We have the same situation as we had this year. The CBSE will decide the marks of the students depending upon number one, their internal assessment, number two, the project work they are doing, number three, the assignments they have done in the school, and number four, whatever the internal examinations they are given online with the schools. That means once again we depend on the school assessment, including project, including assignments and other unit tests and other tests which the schools have conducted online. So there is a grace period here in both the tests. This is the first semester, they said at the first term from November to December. That means they are giving a gap of 48 weeks, different regions depending upon the COVID situation. Maybe in some, like we have seen in Maharashtra, in Karnataka, in Delhi, that was a severe case of pandemic. So depending upon it, the CBSE will arrange. Now coming to the syllabus. Now so far the syllabus given by the CBSE is for the academic session 21-22 for one single exam that will be held in March. But now the syllabus will change. The CBSE, or the Central Board of Secondary Examination, is going to issue a new syllabus by the end of July. By the end of this month, accordingly, all the schools have to follow. They have to follow the same syllabus given by the CBSE, and the students will be tested from these syllabus, from these chapters. So that is about the new scheme according to the Central Board of Secondary Education. Now my take here, the most important part is, I welcome the decision of the Central Board of Secondary Education. Not only me, all the school principal and many of the teachers are happy with this kind of thing. Why? Because number one, the parents are relieved, the students are relieved, the schools are relieved, the principals are relieved, the school teachers are relieved, and the whole society is relieved. Now, because after studying the whole year, because of one single exam in March, suddenly the CBSE will come out because of the dangerous situation of pandemic. They might be cancelling the examination. So to avoid that, all people are relieved. So number one, first point. The second point, it reduces the stress of the students, the burden on the students, because the whole 100% or 100-mark exam is divided into 2 semesters, and each semester carries 50 marks. So accordingly, there will be less work for the students. They can concentrate and focus on particular important topics. And most of these questions are MCQs, so the students do not have to write too much sitting in the school for hours together. These are very simple multiple choice questions. But my take here, it's most important thing, the students are supposed to learn properly the whole chapter so that any question can come from multiple choice questions. You can't pick and choose. You can't choose some important topic and go to the examination. Then you will be in a dangerous situation. So the students who have got the complete knowledge about the subject or the topic or the chapters will be able to do it so nicely. It's not going to be a tough task. So what I recommend the students, what I advise them, start preparing right from the beginning now. Because your next exam, board exam rather, first time in the history of Central Board of Secondary Education will be in November. It's a matter of another 4-5 months. So that's the first exam only for 50% of the syllabus. Start preparing, whether you are studying online or you are taking help from your parents or from anyone or tutors or teachers. So start preparing seriously for this exam. And then after this exam, the remaining 50% start preparing for that. So that is it. So we say desperate situations need desperate measures. So anyway, right, we have been struggling. So we can only hope, we can pray only one thing, for the pandemic to go away. Right now, we have no choice but go with the COVID. So practice all COVID precautions and go on with it. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, share and like our channel. Till we meet next time with another video, goodbye. Bye bye guys. All the best.